Hello students, this time we're going to be talking about author's reasoning. Specifically, what is it, why is it important, how do I figure out an author's reasoning, and how do I answer questions about an author's reasoning. So what is author's reasoning? Author's reasoning refers to why the author chose to make the text the way he or she did. Each choice an author makes is used to create some kind of an effect. So there's a few examples of what questions you could be asking to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. So why did they order the plot the way that they did? What effect does this have? Why did they choose to structure the text the way they did? What effect does this add? Why does the plot or a character have this element in it? What effect does this add? Or why did the author use this word or phrase? What effect does this add? Of course, we've already sort of talked about that in a previous video as well, but it does also relate to author's reasoning as well. So all those effects that you might be seeing, there's a few examples of why the author might be doing what they're doing in the text. A few examples could be that they might be trying to add to the story's mood or the story's tone. They might be doing it to add suspense or tension or mystery, surprise, humor, character development, sympathy, a whole long list of reasons why an author does what they do with a text. They also might be trying to hint at foreshadowing or symbolism or theme or something like that. So just to conclude, the author makes choices about the text on purpose to add some kind of effect. So why is understanding an author's reasoning important? There's two main reasons. It can help you improve your reading comprehension or basic understanding of the text. So you might be faster at picking up on hints about what is happening or what will happen in the story if you go ahead and try to figure out what the author's reasoning is at this particular time in the story. So it could help with that. And it also can certainly help you improve your analysis skills. So it could help you, for example, correctly identify the theme or symbolism or foreshadowing or other kind of deeper things or more subtle things in the text that can be sometimes a little tricky to find. Also, similar to this idea, is you'll probably be a little bit less likely to misinterpret the text or interpret it badly or in the wrong way. So one example that I see pretty often is that students and myself and a lot of people will bring their own experiences and their opinions about a text into the text with them, which can be very good and valuable, but it also can sometimes blind you to what the author might really be saying about the text if you're just caught up in what you think the author might be trying to say. So you definitely want to be open-minded about what beliefs and purposes the author is actually trying to convey through this text. You don't have to necessarily agree with the author, of course, but you do want to know and understand where they're actually coming from. So again, understanding an author's reasoning is important because it'll help your reading comprehension and it will also help your kind of analysis skills. So how do I figure out an author's reasoning? Well, you want to be able to step back from the text and ask yourself these three questions here. What is literally going on here in this text right now? So you want to give general plot details, general character details of what's going on in the story, right? Then number two, is there any words, details, or events that stand out to you? You want to definitely try to pay attention to this part here. Like for example, is there a word that you think is used in kind of a strange way? Does something happen that you wouldn't expect? Does something feel off or odd about this situation? Or a character description or something, something strange about it? And why do you think the author has this happen the way it is? And how does, like, why are they doing this kind of a thing? And then number three, what effect does this actually add to the story? What could this be adding? So after you've kind of identified number two, anything that stands out to you, what effect is this adding to the story? So there could be hidden meanings the author is trying to hint at. So is there any of that, like foreshadowing themes, symbolism, stuff like that? What could be the purpose of this part of the text? Does it advance the plot, develop a character, add suspense, add mood, tone, etc.? And why would the author include this the way that he or she does? So once you can answer these questions, you should have a better understanding of what is really going on in the text and why. So you definitely want to be able to follow these questions to kind of figure out what the author's reasoning might be. Okay, so how do I answer test questions about an author's reasoning? Of course, you always want to be able to consider the text as a whole. So what is it really about? What details are important to consider, and maybe what themes are there in the text? These are all important things to consider. And then of course you want to go ahead and answer those 3 questions that we just went over. Just to reiterate, what is literally going on here? Is there any words, details, or events that stand out to you? And what effect might this add to the story? You want to answer those questions. And then lastly, of course, you want to pick the best, most evidence-backed answer that is available to you. And that's it. So let's look at an actual test question example here. So in the movie Moana by Disney, Moana has a magical experience with the ocean at a young age where it gives her the heart of Te Fiti. The author likely does this to create all the following effects except to add foreshadowing, to add a character development, to add a feeling of wonder about the ocean, to add a feeling of sympathy towards Moana. So to answer this question, we want to go through kind of those test-taking strategies that we just went through. So first of all, we want to consider the text as a whole. So I know from watching the movie, I know that basically Moana is kind of destined to go ahead and cure this disease that's going on, this kind of curse in the ocean, and she does that by restoring the heart of Te Fiti to this kind of goddess island person. So that's kind of what the plot is. And some themes that kind of could come up with this text is maybe like staying true to yourself, or remembering your roots kind of while you're doing that, and maybe fulfilling your calling, your destiny, or your purpose in life is an important thing to do. So those are kind of some themes and whatnot with the text as well. So now that we're considering that, about what the text is really about, then we can kind of go through those questions. First one is kind of considering what is specifically going on in this part of the text. So here we see that she is a young girl and she is being given the heart of Te Fiti, and it's this magical experience with the ocean. So we can kind of see that's what's actually happening there. And then we can say what things stand out to us after that is the second one. And specifically what stands out to me is that she is getting the heart of Te Fiti, obviously. That's a big detail, and that it's the ocean that's kind of with her, so it's a crazy experience, and that she's young. So those are kind of the things that are standing out to me anyway. And so then we just have to ask the last question, what effect might this have? So what effect does these things have then? And that's literally what our question is as well. So we are looking for which of the following is not an effect. So which of these is the odd one out, because that word except there. So we can kind of look at it. To add foreshadowing, do we think that this part of the text here, where she's a baby and everything, do we think that it has foreshadowing in it? Well, it does include the heart of Te Fiti, and we also see that she's kind of chosen by the ocean, so I certainly think that there is foreshadowing there, kind of suggesting that she's gonna do something important with the ocean. So I would think that that is an effect. Then to add character development, I would say, yeah, I could see that a bit, just because we do see again that she is chosen by the ocean, so she does have this connection to the ocean, which is a pretty good bit of character development there. To add a feeling of wonder about the ocean, I could see this as well, just because it's such a magical little experience where you really are kind of amazed at, oh my gosh, the ocean is kind of talking to her and everything, and it really does have that sense of wonder in it, so I could see that. Which means that D is probably going to be the odd one out there that we're looking for, to add a feeling of sympathy towards Moana. At this particular point in the text, I don't know why you would be sympathizing with Moana. There's not really anything to feel bad about towards Moana. You might be jealous, really, because the situation's awesome, but you're not going to be sympathizing, at least at this point. That's the example for the test question. So yeah, D would be our answer. That is the one that is likely not the intended effect that the author is going for, the author being Disney. So yeah, we would go with D. Anyway, that is it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful for you with understanding author's reasoning, why that's important, how to find an author's reasoning, and how to answer these test questions. See you next time.